Doomsday CEO who correctly predicted the retail apocalypse issues another stark warning about the U.S. economy. It's ready to crack. Bob Nardelli, a respected CEO, blames the Biden administration. So this is not the first time we've heard this. There are numerous stories right now where tons of economists, CEOs are saying the economy is on the verge of shattering. Quote, what I've seen over the past 3.5 years is that a series of debacles and missteps have created a tremendous pressure on the fault lines of our economy, and they're about ready to crack. Whoever gets the next stint in the White House is going to be hit with a wrecking ball in trying to correct the missteps and the overspending of this current administration. So we're in for a rough time, I would say. Mark that, take a note down, screenshot it, put it in your phone, because when Donald Trump wins and the economy is in shambles, they're going to blame Trump. And then when things start getting better, they're going to say, oh, well, it's in spite of Trump. But I'll tell you this right now. I can see it. We can see it in the sentiment on the internet. You can see it in all of the comments that we get. And we can see it in ad sales. We can see it in small businesses no longer buying as much in ads. I don't know. You guys seem to be doing pretty well, though. You're on the rebound with pillows.
Yeah, we are at My Pillow, but you realize with us, we're a little different. Is every time you see a My Pillow ad, what if I only had to live on that? Which times I only had to live on doing a little show. So I want to make that as best as I can be, and it's tracked by a promo code and a 1-800 number.
Yeah.
Every one of them individually. So if it doesn't make it, I don't run it. So when you see a lot of ads we're doing, it's working. And
I've seen that.
Are we back to where we were? No, but and then part of that is the economy. I can do, I have to say, well, is it because of the attacks and everything we've had, or is it, the economy? The economy is definitely affecting. I have another platform called mystore.com. It's all entrepreneurs, USA-made products. I give them a place, a safe haven. All of them, without that, they were so hurting. They're hurting because of, like you say, shipping, everything else with this economy. And I think you read that up there that it's going to crack the economy. I believe if Donald Trump, I'll say when he's in, just on the what everybody knows, because he's already been there, done that, and now it's going to be done. Now what he's learned, it's going to even be better. I think everything's going to just be almost faster than you could ever imagine. And I really believe that. Just on, you see companies like when they do an IPO, just on the hope or whatever, that because he's got something to back it up.
Yep.
Proof of concept. That's what he has. He has proof of concept.
People are going to, if they announce that Trump wins, say, what is it, November 5th? Is that election day?
Yeah.
They announce Donald Trump is the winner. Let's say it's November 6th, 2 a.m. or whatever.
Right.
You're going to see the market first thing in the morning go straight up.
All three. Yeah.
Everyone's going to be buying.
In 2016, it started going up about, right when they figured he was going to win, and you could just see it move. And I didn't know anything about the stuff then, and I asked a friend of mine, and I said, what does that mean? He goes, it means somebody knows Donald Trump's going to win.
Yep. Yeah, so Trump is securing the border. Mm-hmm. Deportations, control of immigration is going to be better for the economy. You get these leftists who are arguing that, no, the unfettered illegal immigration is good for the economy. It's not. Mm-hmm. It displaces low-skilled labor. It displaces the youth. And so young people can't find work when they need it. Right. And they end up sitting around doing nothing, getting good at nothing. And then by the time they're in their 20s, they're like, I don't know what to do.
Just like with the futures in the stock market that we were talking about, when you get, like when Donald Trump was elected last time, like the business community was like, all right, this guy is friendly to business. He understands how difficult it is to do business with all the regulations. If you have him elected again, you're going to have the economy respond, because the people that actually invest and actually build things are going to say, well, look, it will be a friendly business environment. And signaling that to the economy is a big deal. Like if you signal to the economy that it's going to be an unfriendly environment for people to invest, for people to try and build their business, they're not going to, because the most important thing for most entrepreneurs is preserving capital.
Right. It makes me think of because the Biden administration placed such a priority on all of the environmental policies, regardless of how they affected business. You'll see headlines that are like, the last two coal mines in New England are shutting, or coal plants in New England are shutting down, and they tout it as this victory, right? No more coal, it's evil, but they don't want to talk about the jobs that they cost. They'll say, oh, well, anyone who loses a job because of this program, we're going to transition you to doing this new thing or whatever else. But ultimately, they are pushing this environmental agenda at the cost of the economy. Can you imagine being a business right now?
And all that is a story. Like when all they have to do is be able to come up with a story. Well, we'll go ahead and make sure people have jobs in this area. People say, oh, okay, you have a plan.
And they never talk about it again.
Then it's fine. Then it's solved. But they don't think about the actual real human beings that have to go through the changing of jobs.
Be retrained.
Yeah, it's not as easy as, oh, well, we'll just get rid of your jobs and we'll plug you into other places. Human beings are not cogs that can just be placed in
especially if you were
positions.
someone who had worked in an industry for 20 years, right? To be like, actually now you have to be trained to work on EVs instead. Like, what are you going to do at that point?
The biggest displacement of jobs, Tim, you hit it there, is this. When I was in Chicago, I'm doing this big program, flipping Democrats, right? I'm going to flip them to this bucket of common sense. And I've talked to them all. We had the room full. By the time we left, I think all 500 were flipped. But there were a lot of Hispanics there. And all of them were very upset of the illegals coming in because they're losing their jobs to the illegals.
Yep.
And I talked to that one after another. And then now you think of this, those illegals that are working, you talk about money laundering, think of all the people that are hiring them that are paying them cash and not paying their taxes. In both ways, and they're probably undercutting them in a wage anyway because they can, save it both. So I got a legitimate business with legitimate workers, and the next door they got the illegal ones, and their labor's cheaper, everything's cheaper, and then I'm suffering here, and then pretty soon this guy might make a bad decision. Well, I got to join and do the illegals too, and these guys are losing their jobs. To this invasion.
People need to understand that there's you pay, I think, 7.5 as a worker, and the business pays 7.5% employment tax. So if a guy comes in and he's like, look, I just need $20 an hour. You go, okay, so after taxes, you're going to take home what, 16, 15 or 13 or whatever.
Right.
Then I got to pay on top, so my total cost is going to be 20. Not interested. Then an illegal immigrant comes in and he says, I also need $20 an hour. And you go, it's going to cost me $24 an hour to hire that other guy. It's going to cost me $20 an hour to hire you, and you actually keep more of it. I'll tell you what, I'll give you $18 an hour. You're not paying taxes anyway.
That's right.
Saves me $6.
Yep.
And you're making more. And that's how they run it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's why I believe that's why they didn't make all the illegals legal when they had everything before, when the Democrats did, because I believe that there's all this big money in California, Texas, Arizona, Colorado now, and Minnesota, where they're paying all these illegals cash and they're not paying federal taxes. The business owners aren't. Those are billions of dollars. That's big money.
Now, this is why they're going to. Two big reasons why Democrats are going to give amnesty. The first is they want the votes.
Right.
The second is they want the tax revenue to maintain the Social Security Administration. The concern is that by 2033, the system starts buckling and breaking, and then by 2037, it's gone. Right. So they bring in 15 million people over the course of a couple of years. Then, overnight, they get 15 million new voters. They bolster their majorities in Congress, and they can now target these people with 87,000 new IRS agents to put money into Social Security to prop the system back up.
Good point.
Yep.
Yeah, very good point.
That's what they're building. Mm-hmm. And then good luck winning elections ever again when they keep flooding the country and providing amnesty.
Yeah, we get one shot at this as far as I'm concerned. We get one shot. And one of the things at the rally I was just at that I spoke at, and Donald Trump said, when he says, as soon as I'm in office, and he was naming the things that addressing all those top three, the third one, he said, and I'm going to secure our elections and to go to get to paper ballots, hand count, and the crowd went crazy. So it is those three things. You talk about the economy, the border, and our election platform. You secure those three, and I believe we can preserve the American dream. I want to tell a quick story. When you tell people have changed, I was in California. This was a couple years ago. In California, there's a thing all over the internet when I was there. And this town was so depressed. The gas was $7.80 a gallon. It was everyone there was 25 to 30 years old, I swear. And that's where all the old vehicles were. I wonder where all the old vehicles went, right? And the town seemed so depressed. But they're all coming up to me and talking to me and going, hey, Mike Lindell. And they're wanting pictures and stuff. And I'm talking to them. And almost all of them had voted Democrat. And they're going, I go, you guys realize, I said, I don't know much about politics, but I said, this is $7.80 gas. The decisions that were made by Donald Trump manifested to good for everybody, right? So anyway, I was educated. Well, I went and ate at this restaurant, and this gal came out, the manager came out, and they took a picture and they put it up on their social media. The owner did. Well, they got attacked by the media. It was like the #1 story in the United States. Mike Lindell goes to this town and they just attack this owner, and she wouldn't take this down. She says, you take your other famous people come here and you don't put them up. She goes, no, Mike's the only one that's ever come here. Well, she stood her ground, and they were the busiest restaurant now in that California town.
Good for her.
But my point being, we left there then, so I seen that, and we went to the hurricanes in Florida. And I went there, and normally you'd see it all over the news. My Pillow donates $80 million or 80 million pillows to, or 80,000 pillows to Hurricane Harvey, Katrina, whatever they were, But this time I didn't say anything. I never did in the first place. I'm down there working with Samaritan's Purse, and we were in a Hispanic trailer court. And all you could see was their worldly possessions on both sides of these dirt roads, all the way down. It was like 2 dikes of just all their physical possession. And we were praying with them. We had interpreters. We're giving them pillows and blankets, but almost bar none, they were coming up and they're going, all they wanted to hear about is if our country had a chance to get the American dream, which I've lived on steroids, going from where I have to crack addict. But they have too. They've came from places, came from the bottom, and they had built up their lives. They knew if we could save our country, that they could get those worldly possessions back. The only thing they cared about was losing our country, that they came in here legally and live here now because a lot of them have been to places that don't have our freedoms. And that meant so much to me and I think that's what you're seeing all around is people are looking for hope. And it doesn't matter what party you're in.
Well, that's why I like the story that you're telling about this restaurant in California, which is like people can supply each other hope. They don't have to look to the government or politicians all the time. Like the fact that this woman was being attacked, people were like, no, we're going to go to your restaurant. You do see that on occasion where people will say like, the way you're being treated is wrong, and I'm going to stand up in any way I can. Maybe you don't have a media platform. Maybe you just patron their business. I think that's the thing that Americans are really craving right now, sort of amidst all the stress and bombardment of all of these negative headlines. People want to believe that things can get better. And I think this has been the interesting thing of contrasting the Biden campaign's messaging with the Trump campaign's messaging, which is the Biden administration will say, well, we're the party of hope and we're party of the future. He said that at one of his rallies and then only talked about January 6th and the past. And Trump really does feel like he is saying like, things are rough right now, but we're headed towards better waters. And I think people need that message because otherwise it just makes you disenfranchised.
Absolutely. That you need hope. My network, and I'll say it at frankspeech.com, that's all I do is put out the hope every day, the things we're doing, being proactive. And being proactive and out there, and where the hope is. I tell people quit watching, media, and even if I see people depressed out there, I'd say a lot of them. Well, I watch Fox day in and day out. Well, they're not going to tell you the hope. It's mostly depressing. Here's what's going on. That's bad. That's bad. And I like to tell people here's where we have the hope here. Here's what's going on here. People come and you combine what's going on right now that's so sad is with the open borders and the fentanyl pouring in. People that are losing hope are turning to addiction, or addicts are getting worse, and that's deadly. And so that's where I'll go around the country, and that's where I have the LindellRecoveryNetwork.org is free. I built it. I put millions into it before all this election stuff. That's what I was going to do, go out and evangelize and say, hey, there's a better way than an addict. I always say, you wake up and with the same problem that you went to bed with, right? No matter how long you stay up. I used to stay up for days smoking crack and everything. Wake up at the same problem. I say, you need a different input to get a different output,
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe and we'll see you all there.